Hey guys, it's Vel here with a how to Leaguestart my Spectral Shield throw. So I know when I put out the video, there was a lot of traction for the Spectral Shield throw build, and people were asking me, how can this be Leaguestartable? So in this video, I'm gonna show you exactly how it is. The Leaguestart POB will show you where to put your points when you're going through the axe. Down below, I have it at 25 points. Then you can see the next 50, the 75, as well as the final 109 points. In Act 1, I ran Caustic Arrow, Mirage Archer, and Pierce until the end of Act 1 when I started to get some better life flasks. When you enter into Merveil's Cavern, you can finally do the switch at level 12 to Poisonous Concoction. So at that point, I ran Poisonous Concoction, Volley, which you get off a quest reward, and Void Manipulation. There is something to note about playing with Poisonous Concoction. You want to make sure that you keep your life flasks updated and run about 2 or 3 of them, because Poisonous Concoction will cycle between the highest tier flasks you have before pulling from the lower ones. So make sure to keep the lowest tier one for yourself. Also, its damage is scaled off the recovery number of your flask, so don't let that fall too far behind either. Basically, bigger number on the flask, the better. The nice thing about switching from Caustic Arrow to Poisonous Concoction is they're both 3 greens in links, so you don't have to worry at all about trying to look for other links in that way. You're also going to get yourself Steel Skin and Dash after you open the cave in Mudflats, and after killing Brutus, you'll want to pick up Vitality and Clarity. In Act 2, you're going to get some new support gems to use after the Chamber of Sins and killing Weaver. We're also going to kill all the bandits here and do the bear quest because it gives us a second move flask. Our main setup should be Poisonous Concoction, Volley, Void Manipulation. We should still have Dash and Steel Skin. And now Vitality, Clarity, and Herald of Agony. In Act 3, I always do the library so I can get access to all the other gems, and I can start leveling my Spectral Shield throw and its support in the weapon swap setup for later. You can, at this point, change to Flame Dash from regular Dash, and honestly, I think it's probably preferred, but that's completely up to you. The first lab should be possible near the end of this act, and if not, you can just come back in the middle of Act 4. I would usually do that when I get to the Gemling Queen in the caves, or a cave? A mine? When you do lab, I would take Way of the Poacher. You get early Frenzy Charge generation, and that on bosses is really nice. You can take the Onslaught if you want. I've had people ask, why don't you take Onslaught? It's mainly because Avatar of the Slaughter at the end of the day does pull out ahead numbers-wise. But it's really up to you, whichever one you want to go with, and if you want to respec it out later. By the end of Act 3, your gem setup should be Poisonous Concoction, Volley, Void Manipulation, Chance to Poison, Dash, Steel Skin, and Sniper's Mark, and for auras, Vitality, Clarity, and Herald of Agony. From Act 4 to Act 10, your main setup should look something like Poisonous Concoction, Greater Volley Support, Void Manipulation, Chance to Poison, Cruelty. You should also have Dash or Flame Dash, Ancestral Protector. Your auras will be Grace, Herald of Agony, and Vitality. You'll have a cast when damage taken with a Stone Golem, and a mark on hit support with Sniper's Mark. By the end of Act 4, it should be possible to drop your Clarity and run Grace while sustaining your mana from the leech you have. You may need to drop the level of your Vitality a bit though. And when you kill Verslatha in Act 6, you can get the Flask Pantheon, which is very, very comfortable. Just period. It is so nice to have. If you're the kind of person who likes to switch into your skill right away, I would hold off when it comes to Spectral Shield throw. You can switch in at about 400 or so armor on your shields in later Act 4, beginning of Act 5, but it doesn't really start to pop off until you get a few key uniques, and the Poison Concoction ends up feeling just better. In saying that, let's get into some of the uniques that you're going to want to get. So in the mid-range POB, you're going to see I have a Scaeva. Scaeva for this build is great. I was running T16 maps in Mayhem event with a Scaeva with 3 green sockets because each one gives me 10% global critical strike multiplier. And it also gives you 70% global crit strike chance in a main hand. So it was like, it's a no-brainer of a weapon. The shield that you can use, so to be honest, Emperor's Vigilance, they're not very expensive. They might be a little expensive on the first day, but overall, they drop down to about 20-40 C max. They have a very static 1,000 increased armor and energy shields, so you can just grab any one that you want. But if they are too expensive for you, you can, or if you're playing SSF, you can target a Magna Eclipsis. The Obscurantis is a fantastic helmet for this build. We use it in the Leaguestart POB, and we're using it here because not only are we getting 900 accuracy, we get some life and 1% increased projectile attack damage per 200 accuracy rating. This way, we don't have to worry about do we have enough accuracy? Are we hitting? None of that. And if you go for the suppression mastery, the fact that it's evasion is just a win-win. The chest piece for this build is pretty basic. It uses the lowest tier of the Exarch and Eater currency to get the Hatred has 27% aura effect and the critical multiplier for attack damage. It also has a little bit of suppress on it, some life, 1 resist, and a spot where you can craft on the avoid ailments and avoid stun. Our gloves are super, super cheap. We find them as early as level 6. They are Hrimsorrows. They convert 100% of our physical damage over to cold damage. These are what we use before we end up making our Betrayal 60% cold converted gloves. And you can even corrupt these to give yourself some extra life or percent crit, etc. So we're looking for some Evasion Boots with some spell suppress, some life, 2 resists, and some move speed. And I also put on the Fizz is extra cold and action speed. The mid-range amulet is very, very basic. So it's a strength and int amulet because those are the 2 stats that we would like to find the most of, with 30 more int on it, some global crit multi, and life. Very simple, not looking for any pluses, nothing like that. You can put resist on it if you want. It's got the room. For both rings, we are looking to get some int on it, some strength on it. Life on each ring would be fantastic. Resist on each ring would be great. If we can get elemental damage with attack skills on both, awesome. I think it's very possible. And one of them to make sure you have a open prefix for the -7 craft, and the other one maybe an open suffix so you can get yourself some resist. Our belt is going to be a heavy belt. We're looking for mainly just life, resist, and LE damage with attack skills on this. Very simple, very cheap. You'll want to get yourself a battle-hardened Furious Assault and Ironbreaker. Fun fact, this isn't actually a hard cluster to make at all. You just need an 8 passive Fizz cluster. It can't be any lower than level 50 or any higher than level 67. And you can just hit it on the Harvest Bench with Fizz modifier until it rolls all 3. And now that Exalts don't cost that much anymore, even the Exalt Slam isn't that bad because the weight on what you need is not, it's not that bad. You'll also want the small cluster jewel for Sublime Form, which gives your Grace 50% increased mana reservation efficiency. This is huge. At this point, you should have your Seething Fury as well. You're going to be able to get this by corrupting any old rare Viridian jewel. So think about all of those jeweler boxes that you can just have in your Atlas, rare and corrupted at all times, that can drop so many decent corrupted jewels. I imagine it won't be that bad to find. The last jewel I use is a damage penetrates cold resistance while affected by hatred, Watcher's Eye. I find that this is pretty common early league. This mod tends to show up a lot. It's not overly expensive, and it provides a good amount of damage. Thank you so much for watching my Leaguestart for SST video. If you have any questions, comments, anything you want to say, definitely write them in the comments below. Consider hitting that subscribe button if you've made it this far. And I hope you guys all enjoy playing the SST builds on Leaguestart. Bye, guys.